Hello, I'm Stephen Andrew Missick. I'm running for Texas State Legislature, HD 18. I have 30 years of military experience, and I have 4 years of experience on the border mission. One of the biggest challenges we face right now is the need for border security. I work the border, I know the border very well, and I know what needs to be done to secure our border. And one of the things we need to do is finish building Donald Trump's wall. Right now, as I speak, the Texas State Legislature is in session. And we've had failures on passing border legislation. Why? It's being impeded. And why is this? It's because it's being impeded by Texas Speaker Dade Phelan, known as Drunk Dade. We have a problem with the Texas House that's been exposed by the Texas scorecard. We have a problem in the Texas House, and it's a rhino infestation. Even though the Republicans have a majority, the Democrats run the Texas House because the Democrats choose the Speaker. So what happens is the Speaker of the House, in this case Dade Phelan, approaches the Democrats and asks them to support him for Speaker of the House. And he peels off some Republicans in name only, Democrats who run on the Republican ticket, to ensure that he gets in there. And then what do? They impede and block conservative legislation. And one of the problems is the incumbent Ernest Bales. As we can see here, I got one of his flyers, and it's paid for by the Dade Phelan campaign. So Ernest Bales is a minion or a toady of Dade Phelan. So I've worked the border. I know what needs to be done to keep our border secure. And right now they're trying to pass legislation to achieve that, but it's being blocked by Dade Phelan, Ernest Bales, and other rhinos. When I was working the border, I saw how effective Donald Trump's policies on the border were. I saw hordes of migrant caravans reduced to a trickle through two things. One, the wall, and other, the Remain in Mexico policy, stopping catch and release, reinstating the migrant protection protocols, which is also called Remain in Mexico. Trump's border policies are the solution to the border crisis. And this election, the 2024 election, is a Trump election. And I support Donald J. Trump. Look at how good things were under Donald Trump and how bad they are now. We need to have Trump reelected. We need to reelect Donald J. Trump to correct course and make America great again. In this district, the biggest issue that we face is Colony Ridge. In this House district, in Liberty and San Jacinto County specifically, also East Montgomery County, and this also will affect eventually Hardin County. The biggest issue we have is Colony Ridge. And I want to recommend that you look at the letter written by Attorney General Ken Paxton addressing the problem of Colony Ridge. I want to read some certain sections of this. It says, upon investigation, the Office of Attorney General found that Colony Ridge in particular is made possible by a specific arrangement created by State Senator Robert Nichols and Representative Ernest Bales. It says in 2017, Representative Ernest Bales specifically took action on behalf of Colony Ridge to enact HB 4341, Chapter 3795 of the Special District Local Laws Code, which established the Municipal Management District from undeveloped land in Liberty County. Ken Paxton concludes by saying, I am beyond disappointed in Senator Nichols and Representative Bales for apparently working to enrich specific developers at enormous expense to the rest of the public and reducing the quality of life for their own constituents. I have watched journalists and politicians alike downplay this problem. In lockstep, they minimize the scale, cost, and worst of all, the unjust deprivation of self-governance endured by the people of Texas who never assented to the creation of a sprawling, unincorporated, ungoverned zone that caters in no small part to other countries' citizens, but forces us to pay for the associated costs. There are reports of cartel activity and killings in Colony Ridge. It's spilling out. Currently, there's about 75,000 mostly illegal aliens settled in the shanty town of Colony Ridge, and it's expected to grow exponentially. Ernest Bales wants to grow Colony Ridge to 250,000 people, 250,000 people, and he wants to do it soon. He's trying to get some kind of financial gain from this. What's really immoral and unethical about what Ernest Bales did to create Colony Ridge is that he snuck it in local and uncontested legislation in the Texas State House. So it wasn't even debated. It was snuck in surreptitiously, and that's wrong and unethical and immoral. Also notice that Ernest Bales attempted to impeach Ken Paxton, the best and most effective Attorney General in the United States of America. When I'm elected, I'm going to go to Austin and we're going to repeal House Bill 4341, and we're going to dismantle completely Colony Ridge and bring accountability and justice for the people of HD 18. Colony Ridge, Terranos, Houston has created a lot of problems for our House district here, and it's devastated people's lives. And now we need to hold people accountable and bring restitution, and that's what I want to do. When I win, I'm going to abolish Colony Ridge. I want this election to be a referendum on Colony Ridge. I want to talk about my legislative priorities, and I want to mention right now that I am pro-life. And I want to go on to mention that I'm also pro-Second Amendment. I believe that we need to protect the right to keep and bear arms. Another thing that Ernest Bales has been doing, Ernest Bales is working with the left-wing teachers' unions. He has been supporting efforts to flip Texas from a red state to a blue state. There's a rally he attended, a teachers union rally in Houston, where he wore a purple shirt to show his solidarity with the movement to transition Texas from a red state to a blue state, going through the transition of being a purple state. I want to keep Texas red, because as Texas goes, so will the country go. We need to defend Texas and defend Texan values, because we want to keep America free. We need to keep it a constitutional republic, and we need to keep Texas prosperous. Our Constitution is under attack. Sadly, the Democrat Party has thrown in its lot with radical left-wing progressivism and Marxism. They're working to create a police state, and we need Texas to stand strong as a bulwark for freedom and a defender against the peril that we face from totalitarian statism and Marxism. We need to stand up and keep Texas and America free. Let's look at my other legislative priorities. As I said, number one, we need a strong border. I have experience on the border. I know what we need to do to keep our state and our nation safe. I believe that the governor needs to declare an invasion. And right now, he's trying to pass legislation that would empower him to do that. But this is being blocked by Dade Phelan and Ernest Bales. Also, there's the issue of integrity, that we need to fight against corruption, and we also need to have voting integrity. And we're seeing corrupt politics, and we need an outsider. Sadly, the people are being failed by our politicians and our elected leaders, especially here in Liberty and San Jacinto County. We need to stand up against corruption and hold our leaders accountable, and especially accountable for what they did with Colony Ridge. This is not in the best interest of the citizens of this House district, and I'm going to fight for the best interest of the people of this House district. Also, we need to tackle the issue of voter fraud. I believe, let's accept reality. Donald Trump won the 2020 election, and it was stolen from him by fraud. We need to tackle the election issue to restore faith in the system and verify election integrity. Actually, this is the biggest problem that we face as a nation. We need to have election integrity. The survival of our republic, our constitutional system, depends on it. And we also need to instill faith in our election. And you don't do that by silencing people. People need to vent their concerns if they suspect fraud. We need the light of truth and transparency to establish it. And see, that's why I was at January 6th. I do not believe that Joe Biden received more votes than Barack Hussein Obama. Having election day become election days and then weeks and all these ballots being discovered and all these shenanigans, that's a problem that has to be addressed. And that's why I was at January 6th standing up for our country and for election integrity. And I'm not ashamed I was there. And we've been unjustly persecuted for voicing our concerns. And we need to find out exactly how many FBI agents were disguised as Trump supporters and engaging in violence and inciting in violence. We need to find out exactly how many FBI agents were dressed up as Trump supporters on January 6th and were engaging in violence or inciting violence. And we need to make sure that these people are arrested and prosecuted to the full extent of the law. If you don't know what's going on about January 6th and the 2020 election, I strongly recommend that you watch Dennis D'Souza's film, Police State, and Nick Searcy's film, Capital Punishment, that will open your eyes to situations and problems that need to be addressed. I was at January 6th, and I think it's important for people to support January 6ers so we can fight back against the injustices that our nation suffered. For me, it's personal, and every American citizen should be concerned about the issue of voter fraud. Border security, integrity in the fight against corruption, voter integrity, education. One of the issues that Ernest Bales has been blocking is school reform. He doesn't want you to have choices and alternatives and the best choices available to give options to you to set up your child for success. Ernest Bales is beholden to the left-wing teachers' unions, and we need to stand up for the interests of our children, the interests of our students. So I support school choice, but I also support home schooling, and I support biblical homeschooling. And homeschooling needs to be protected. The problem with our public education system is it's politicized. Look at these left-wing teachers unions. What are they? They're the most reliable lobbyist and special interest groups for the Democrat Party. And they're indoctrinating our children and poisoning the minds of our young people against our Constitution, against our nation. And we have to stop it. We have to oppose these left-wing teachers unions who put the interest of partisan politics and left-wing ideology such as CRT, which is critical race theory, which is a form of Marxism. That's what they want to teach our kids. They don't care that our kids are falling behind more and more every year. They want more money, which they squander. We need to put the interest of our kids first, and we need to empower our parents to have alternatives and choices for education. So I support school choice, but I also support homeschooling. And we need to have special protections to make sure that homeschoolers aren't forced to have any government mandates forcing them to teach or indoctrinate their kids into critical race theories or other left-wing Marxist ideologies. It's important for parents to be empowered to educate their children and give them the highest quality of education that they can. And I believe that through homeschooling, parents are able to do that. And I think it's important to inculcate our kids in patriotic and biblical values. So I will fight to support homeschooling and make sure that it has special protections and privileges, because that's important for us to instill within our children biblical values and the Christian worldview. So healthcare is also something that's important. We need to take care of people. I don't believe in Obamacare or socialism, but I'm a disabled veteran, and I don't know where I would be without the VA. Healthcare through military service, and I have service-related injuries, and we need to take care of people. And I think that's important to find a way to help those who are in need, especially if they are ailing and elderly. So we have to take care of people. That's what the essence of the gospel of Jesus Christ is all about. And lastly, property taxes. Property taxes. We need to abolish property taxes. It's onerous, it's oppressive, it's exploitative. We have to address the issue of our property taxes. And I think the only way to solve the problem is to abolish property taxes. And that's what we're going to have to do. And so, well, how are we going to fund our government? Texans for Fiscal Responsibility have done a lot of research on this issue. It's entirely possible to fully fund our government and education without property taxes. If we had reasonable rates, this wouldn't be an issue. If we had reasonable property tax rates, this wouldn't be an issue. But this onerous, oppressive taxation needs to end. The only way to move forward dealing with the problem of property taxes is to abolish them. So, in conclusion, I'm going to talk a little bit more about myself. I'm Dr. Stephen Andrew Missick. I'm the pastor of King of Saints Tabernacle in Cleveland, Texas. I live in Shepherd, Texas. I'm an author of several books, and as I mentioned before, I have 30 years of military experience. If you want to support me in my campaign or meet me in person, every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, we're praying for our nation. Please come. You can talk to me. I'm going to have various Meet the Candidate events where you can come and talk to me in person. But it's very important. I believe this election is pivotal. We need to support Donald Trump. We need Trump candidates. We need to get rid of the rhinos. And we have to tackle the issue of Colony Ridge. And I am the candidate who is going to do all of that. If you're concerned about Colony Ridge, and you're concerned about the direction our country is going, if you want Republicans in office who actually promote and further Republican policies, then you should vote for me, because I'm committed and serious about my conservatism. I believe that conservative solutions are the best for our country and help people of all races and nationalities and all walks of life. And we're commanded in the scriptures to love people, to love all people, and to seek their good. And that's what I want to do. And I believe one of the ways I can do this is by representing you and serving you in Austin. So I hope you consider giving me your vote and let me help you and help our House district. And if you're concerned about the direction we're going, want to change course, please support me and my campaign. And here's some contact information. So thank you for your time, your consideration, and God bless you.
Is we think in the victory.